Hi, I'm Dr. Kaustubh Mahajan, consultant neurologist at Holy Family Hospital, Raheja Hospital, and Godrej Hospital. I would like to tell something about epilepsy. It has been seen that the awareness quotient for epilepsy is very low in our country. So there are certain questions which I'll be answering.
What is epilepsy and seizures?
Epilepsy is a condition which arises from the brain in which a patient has a recurrent liability for seizures. Seizures, or in common term in Hindi known as Dora, where there is excitation of neurons which is abnormal, which leads to an event which is transient, brief, sudden, in which there is abnormality in the movement or in the sensory problem, or there could be some psychic disturbances. So they can vary from anything from jerky movements, or there can be any abnormalities, psychic behavioral changes, or some sensory abnormalities like tingling, numbness on one side.
Who can possibly get an epilepsy?
Epilepsy can happen to anybody, from a newborn to an elderly adult. There are around 65 million people suffering from epilepsy in this world. To tell you in brief, 65 million means Bombay's population is around 11.5 million, so that's a very big number. And the causes of epilepsy can range from wide variations like changes in the blood, which we call as metabolic disturbances, or any structural problem. The structural problems can be seen on an MRI. They can range from strokes, in which there's a blood clot. Second, there can be a tumor. Third, there can be some bleeding inside the brain. Fourth, there can be certain circuitry problems which may not be seen on the MRI, for which a functional imaging like an EEG is necessary. The blood problems, which are called as the metabolic conditions, usually commonly low sugars, low sodium, low magnesium, low calcium, are also frequent. If we just correct these problems, the seizures may not recur anytime further. The triggers for fits are basically those things which consistently seem to cause or provoke fits in a patient with epilepsy. There can be many, and the patient himself has to identify these triggers. Usually we tell them to maintain a seizure diary in which the fits are preceded by these triggers. The most common triggers of these are, one is usually any particular part of time in the day, which may be in the night or the day. Usually when the patient is awakening from the sleep, or when the patient is going into sleep. So these are the times when fits may happen. Second is, which is also very common, is sleep deprivation. If the patient has not slept properly, also he may have tendency to have fits. Alcohol is a common trigger for a fit, in which patients, even when is compliant on medicines, can get fits if he is taking alcohol regularly. Commonly it is seen that if patient has been doing binge drinking, or if the patient is used to a large quantity of alcohol daily and suddenly stops it, he may get fits. Third possible trigger are menstrual cycle. The hormonal changes which happen in the female sometimes can trigger fits. So the patient can be aware when she may have a fit. Fever is also a common trigger for fits. If a patient with epilepsy, usually in adults, there is a high-grade fever, he may get fits even when he is on medicines. So controlling fever and finding the cause is also important. Usually in children it is seen the fever itself is the cause of fits rather than a trigger, in which just controlling the fever, the patient may not have subsequent fits later. These are known as febrile seizures. These are common in less than 6 years of age. After 6 years of age, however, if fever is provoking fits or causing fits, you should find for other causes. The other possible provokers or triggers are, and which is in fact the most common cause, is skipping your medicines. A patient who skips his anti-epileptic drugs can get fits, and this is very common, and that is why patients should always keep a track of their medicines.
Indians keep asking about diet and epilepsy. So is there any relation between epilepsy and particular diet?
Yes, a diet and epilepsy, there are two main things to be pondered. Fasting, that is hypoglycemia, when the sugars in the body get low, usually provokes fits. So that is also an important trigger for a patient with epilepsy to have fits. Also, it is seen that some refractory epilepsies in which patient is on multiple drugs but still keeps getting fits, then we prescribe something known as ketogenic diet, or also known as modified Atkins diet, in which a particular diet has to be followed, which is more on fats and low in sugar, which has been consistently proven to benefit patients with refractory epilepsies who are not amenable for surgery and have failed multiple medicines.
What are the treatments available for epilepsy?
The treatment can be divided into medical, surgical, and non-pharmacological. Medical treatment usually depends upon first finding the cause of the epilepsy. The cause of the epilepsy can be determined by various investigations, which include structural imaging like MRI and functional imaging like EEG, certain blood investigations to find the cause of the fits. You correct the blood abnormalities and the fits may never happen again, as I've said. Second is certain medications, which are called as anti-epileptic drugs. According to the patient's background and the types of fits, we prescribe medicines. Usually one medicine, that is one anti-epileptic drug, suffices for a patient if it is given appropriately. The neurologist will usually decide that. There are certain side effects of these drugs, but with minimal usage and proper usage, the side effect minimizes to a big extent. The surgical management for epilepsy is usually indicated when there is a perfect lesion which correlates with the kind of fits the patient is having. Surgical resection is usually also indicated in cases of refractory epilepsy to medicines if you have identified a particular zone in the brain which is causing the fits. Sometimes certain infections can lead to fits, like tuberculosis or neurocystic cirrhosis. Just treating these infections also along with anti-epileptic drugs may further necessitate the need not to give any anti-epileptics in future.
What are the options for patients who are not controlled by drugs?
Yeah, that's a few percentage of patients. We call these patients as refractory epilepsy, whose seizures cannot be controlled with 2 or more drugs when given appropriately. The options available are basically non-medical treatments like surgery. We do imaging to find where the seizure is originating and resect the lesion inside the brain, and that has shown to consistently reduce the medicine burden and also cure the epilepsy. Also, there are other modalities, which one, as I mentioned, ketogenic diet. Second is something known as VNS, vagal nerve stimulation, which can be given and have shown benefits when patient has been shown resistant to multiple medicines.
So what do we do when patient having fits?
Basically, when a patient is having fit in front of you, first thing is that you cushion the patient's head. Anything which is soft, a bag or a pillow, you just cushion the head. Second is you turn the patient around to one side. And the third is you can time the event. I would urge all bystanders or relatives, if anybody who's having patient, please time the event, because many times it is important for us to know how long the fit was. Also, usually a fit should subside within 1 or 2 minutes, but if it is prolonged, that is more than 5 minutes, then it is a case of emergency, because you are risking irreversible brain damage then. So time the event, preferably if it is the first event and it has never been shown to a neurologist. Also video the event, because nowadays all mobile phones have a video, so that shouldn't be an issue. What are the don'ts if a patient is having a fit? Please don't put anything inside the mouth, because you are risking your health there, in which the amount of strength when a patient is having a fit is so vast that if you keep your finger, it may be even cut into two. Second, please do not panic, be calm. Third is avoid restraining the patient. If a patient is having fit, please don't. There are many times I see that all people kind of hold his hands, hold both the limbs. So don't do that, because again, the strength generated during a fit is so much that if you try to restrain, there will be fractures. It is very common the patient gets shoulder dislocations, rib fractures, after a fit, and if you refrain, the likelihood increases. Don't give anything to drink or eat during a fit. It is noticed that many a times patients try to give water. This is very harmful for the patient, in fact, because if a patient is having fit and is frothing from his mouth, and if you try to give water, it is bound to go inside the lungs and cause something known as aspiration pneumonia. Just to complicate things further, please don't do it. Also, it has been seen that I don't know from where the idea has come, but many patients, bystanders kind of try to give onion or chappal. So this seizure, any time if it happens, it is going to subside on its own by within 1 or 2 minutes. So giving an onion or anything is basically, you're not causing any harm, but you're not causing any benefit. But what I have said in the dose, you should prefer to do that before doing all these things.
What people should know about epilepsy who don't have epilepsy?
So this is known as epilepsy etiquette, in which people who do not have epilepsy, laymen basically, should know about epilepsy. The first thing which I would like to urge upon this point is that please do not call a patient suffering with epilepsy as an epileptic patient. The patient is more than that, and so you can always refer to a patient as patient with epilepsy rather than epileptic patient. Second is, don't assume that this is a mental disorder. An epileptic patient can live a normal life, can have a normal job like others, and can have kids. But so don't presume that he's having a mental disorder. Third, which I would like to press upon the point, is that all patients with epilepsy do not have the same condition. As I've said prior, epileptic fits can be of various forms. They can be, which is well-known form, which is the dora, which we call as when there is jerky movements in both the hands, turning of head, frothing from mouth, upward rolling of eyeballs. So this is called as a GTC, generalized tonic-clonic seizure. But this is the most kind of severest form of a fit. There are other milder forms also, like absence spells, in which is more common in children, in which the patient just becomes blank, like I'm talking to you and just he becomes blank for a few seconds, and then he comes back to the conversation. So these blank spells are common in children, and they may happen at least 100 per day. They are also a kind of fit, and they need to be controlled. It is usually noticed by teachers, in which the usual complaint by the teacher to the parent is that the child is not paying attention in the class, or you see that the child score, the exam scores are declining day by day. So there are absence spells. Then there are certain myoclonic jerks, which are brief jerk-like episodes, something like this, which are common normally also, but when they happen frequently and with concomitant certain fits, they are abnormal and they need to be treated. So epileptic fits may be of various types, and identifying the type, in such cases, that's why a video recording helps us, and identifying the type helps us to give the appropriate drug which is needed for the patient.
What are the myths about epilepsy, and is it a curse or a sacred disease?
Unfortunately, there have been many misconceptions about epilepsy, since it is kind of one of the oldest disease occurring to mankind. Alexander the Great had the same disease, epilepsy, in which it was told as a sacred disease. No, none of this is true. Epilepsy has been regarded as a sacred disease because there are certain psychic features which may happen. There is a temporal lobe. If the seizures are arising from that, there may be deja vu like things, in which a person experiences event in time which has already happened in the past. Second is there may be laughter spells. Third is they may do certain activities skillfully even when they are not in their consciousness. So all these things happen in fits because there is an abnormal discharge which is coming from the brain. It all depends upon from where in the brain center these seizures are arising from. Whatever it is, it needs to be controlled, because if it is arising from one side, it may spread to the other area, and the brain in general as a whole may get stunned. So treating it is very important.
What are the other misconceptions about epilepsy?
There are many misconceptions which go around epilepsy. One of the misconceptions is, does epilepsy spread by touch? No, epilepsy is a brain condition and it doesn't spread by touch. The other common misconception is that are patients with epilepsy mentally retarded? No, they are not mentally retarded. It is a brain condition in which the neurons are just firing hyper, and it is an episode, an event, after which they are perfectly normal. The third is, are females with epilepsy unfit for marriage? Unfortunately, because of the low awareness, patients with epilepsy are on certain medications which may cause certain abnormalities in pregnancy. But if there are better drugs, if they are changed at the time of or before conception, when they are planning, all these side effects can be prevented. Patients with epilepsy can have normal delivery, can have normal children, provided they are following up with a neurologist, provided their fits are controlled. So they can marry and live a normal life.
What are the general advices you would like to give to the patients who have epilepsy?
Yes, the general advices to be given to a patient with epilepsy would be, first, remember that epilepsy is a treatable condition. You can have a very happy life when you are taking your medicines regularly. Maintain a seizure diary. Identify the triggers which are provoking these epileptic fits and try to avoid these triggers. Just avoidance of triggers is also important in controlling epilepsy. Don't let epilepsy control you when you can easily control epilepsy with the help of medicines and the current neurological science available.